Hello, I'm Chris Lucaria, owner of Roundabout Records, and I'm here today to start my video series on famous albums, infamous albums, and obscure albums that you should either know about or know more about. Today, I will be talking to you about the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour, quite possibly my favorite Beatles recording. It was released November 27th, 1967 in the United States and Canada, and December 8th, 1967 in the UK. Um, in Canada and the United States, it was released as an 11-track LP, and in the UK, it was released as a 6-track EP, which I'm holding here today, and it was released as a double EP. And this is an original from 1967. Um, I think it's super cool that they did this. It comes with a booklet on the inside. It almost reads like a children's book. It's really neat. Artwork, the story of the Magical Mystery Tour, and just something really awesome and something you don't see very often in the United States. Now, the recording before Magical Mystery Tour began in April with the recording of the title track. And Paul McCartney had intended all along for this to be his springboard into the filmmaking world. However, this was all put on hold with the death of their manager, Brian Epstein, who had green-lighted the project, given it his seal of approval. But he died before they could get started with that. Now, the feel that he wanted for this recording and the movie was that of the merry pranksters, Ken Kesey, traveling around on a bus, throwing acid test parties. And the recording definitely captures that. The film itself, though, is a train wreck. And anyone who's ever sat down and watched the whole thing all the way through will see that it makes absolutely no sense, and it's just some random video footage that they threw together. Now, this was also the peak of the Beatles' LSD use, and it's definitely reflected in the poor recording of the album. Now, there was some conflict with the band as George, John, and Ringo, they all wanted to go to their yoga, meditation, whatever retreat with the Maharishi, the great yogi. But Paul was a workhorse. He wanted to just crank out music, crank out projects, use this as a launching point for the Apple company. Now, the rest of the band unwillingly went along with Paul and went ahead and started the process of recording late that summer, early fall. And they also commenced with recording the film. And as they recorded the film, they would also record the music. They were unable to use the Abbey Road studios at this time because they tried to book it so late, so they had to use a different recording studio. They wanted more control over the recording process. It was very experimental to the point that George Martin all but backed out of producing the album. He still was a producer, but his hand was minimal in the production of it. Um, this would also kind of mark the breaking point of the band, as the first single was supposed to be a double A-side, Hello Goodbye, and I Am the Walrus. I Am the Walrus ended up being considered a B-side, and this really upset John, and because John was the one who wrote I'm the Walrus, so he kind of began like tucking himself away as he felt his contribution wasn't represented very well or appreciated by the band. Um, Also, with the recording of I Am the Walrus, John had a radio in the studio, was messing around on it, and picked up King Lear coming through the radio and wanted that recorded along with the rest of the song. And how it was recorded was it was recorded into the original mono mix, and they weren't able to properly transfer that to the stereo mix. And John really wanted that to be part of it, so they re-channeled the mono mix to make an artificial stereo sound. And starting at, you'll hear when it says sitting in an English garden waiting for the sun, starting at that line, it starts sounding like complete garbage, because it goes from being true stereo, nice and crystal clear, to this re-channeled stereo where the low end frequencies is coming out of the left, the high end frequencies coming out of the right. And to the ear it sounds terrible, but to know the history of why they did that, it really brings about that Beatles magic, Beatles lore that people talk about, and how different they were for the time, how avant-garde they were for the time with recording techniques. With that being said, when news got to Capitol that this is what they were supposed to put out, executives flipped out and were like, Americans don't buy EPs, we need a full album. So what they did was they took 5 singles that had been released earlier that year, those being Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Baby You're a Rich Man, and All You Need Is Love. So they threw those on there to create a full album to sell to the people. And Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane were actually singles for Sgt. Pepper that they had released earlier that year. So it wasn't a true album, as people consider it a Beatles album. It was never intended to be an album. The United States record executives threw together an album so that they could sell it to the American people. And it actually ended up being released in the late 70s as a full album, the American style album in the UK. And that is now what you purchase worldwide, is the 11-track album that was pieced together by Capitol Record executives. Just some cool history. Beatles Magical Mystery Tour EP, original 1967, first press. If you're interested in it, shoot me a message. I'll send you a price. It was nice talking to y'all. Peace out.